Do you like watching the rain? I mean, especially when you're inside. Yeah. Well, it's kind of a bit like that with your mind. You've got to learn to watch the rain of thoughts in your mind. And so, in the beginning, it's kind of a bit scary because you begin to see who you actually are as opposed to how you'd like everybody to think you are and how you would like to think you are yourself. And it's at that point when you actually are able to see this kind of, they have an analogy for it, it's like a waterfall, you know, this avalanche of thoughts, you know. And then you begin to see the content. Then you begin to experience your feelings, you know, like your worries and your, you know, who's irritating you at the moment, or, you know, memories and all sorts of things. And some of them are not very pleasant, you know. And at that point, actually, that's the point when a lot of people give up doing meditation. All of those things are give you a type of stress called distress, you know. So you know what that feels like. So what we're trying to do is, we're trying to just sit with those things. We're not trying to stop them. We're not trying to analyze them. We're not trying to kind of create a big story about them. We're just sitting with them as they're happening. Eventually, that's what you'll be able to do. But to begin with, you have to go through the poodle training, which is what we are doing at the moment. We are focusing on something other than the thoughts and the emotions and the feelings. We are learning to kind of become uninvolved. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's what you're learning to do.
That's what I'm trying to practice.
Eh?
That's what I've been trying to practice, that when I'm not attached.
Just allowing the thoughts to come and go. And you can see this happening? Sometimes. Yeah? So you need to know all of these things, because there are sometimes something will happen and you can't cope that way. So you have to go back to redirecting your attention to something else, to anchor, to bring stability, you know. And so, as you begin to move with the practice, then you'll have to use all these different levels of practice, because at some point you'll be able to cope with something, and that's fine. But at other times you won't. And so you have to know what we are doing and why we are doing it. And not avoiding the things you don't like. That causes you a lot of stress. So this is the second layer of suffering that I was talking about. The rest of it, we can all get sick or whatever, you know. It's a fact. There is suffering. And when you get sick, you're experiencing it. But it's not like something that just goes away when you're not sick. There's an underlying kind of dissatisfaction going on. And it's this level that we want to look at. Because you can't stop becoming sick or whatever, but you can reduce the difficulty, the stress or whatever, by working with this other level of thought. And this means becoming aware of what's happening, watching the rain. Then you'll begin to understand what's driving all of this for you. You know, what are the things that cause me to have a problem? You begin to understand what the underlying causes for you are. And then you'll be able to stay with the discomfort. You know? But you may have to move away from it if it becomes too much. And so that's why you need to know the first method. Do you see? Does that make sense? Yeah.
Do you think you have to understand it to deal with it?
I beg your pardon?
Do you have to understand where it's coming from to be able to...
You don't need to. It's coming from your mind. And you mean, do you need to understand what's caused it?
Yeah.
No. That isn't an issue. It's there. That's it. The cause of it, you know, it doesn't really matter. Do you see? Mm. But no one will talk to you about this. You know, the people that do meditation and stuff, they won't actually, they want to promote all the good bits, you know, the bits that they think you're going to like, you know. You see, like, oh, you're going to become calm, and you're going to be peaceful, but actually you're going to see what it is that's going on inside your head, and you might not like it, you know. That's like, you know, the small print on the bottom of the tin, you know. Do you see? So you need to be able to work with that, because the other stuff you're fine with. Do you understand me? The other stuff's easy. Oh, I like that. You know, it's not a problem, you know. But seeing like your distress or your emotional issues or whatever, you know, don't want to go there. But that's what happens, like all over the planet. You know, we watch TV. You know, and I'll tell you, sometimes I watch during the day, and they think that it's all old people or something, you know. So they have this thing called life insurance, right? And they say, buy this, it's only, you know, and Michael Parkinson's sitting there, you know, it's only £5 a week, you know, and I've got my 50 grand for doing the advert, you know. It's only £5 a week, you know. But what they're talking about, it's not life insurance at all, it's death insurance. When you die, do you want to leave your loved ones completely stressed out, you know? Well, in my case, I don't really care, you know. They can throw me in a plastic bag and put me on the tip. It's not really an issue, but, you know, so what do? You go and you enroll for health insurance, you know. Health insurance. It's not health insurance, it's sickness insurance. You're paying to be, you know, to be looked after when you're sick, in the hope that you'll be cured, if you're lucky. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the whole thing is distorted, you know? Like just before I came here tonight, on the news, there was this thing. Someone's got shot in Ukraine or something. I don't understand it. But the guy said, you need to be aware that there are open caskets as part of this broadcast. And I went, what? You know? But what are we used to seeing? They're all closed. You don't see anything, you know? You understand? They just go, click, shut it. You know? That's what happened when my mother died. I wanted the casket open to spend all night with her doing stuff, putting stuff in and all this thing, you know, for her moving into a new home, you know. And the guy wouldn't take the lid off. Do you see? Everything, all of the unpleasantness is covered up. All of it. Where our food comes from. It's all covered up. We eat more chickens than, I don't know, than any other country apparently. But if you were taken to see how they're reared, you know, you might not eat quite as much chicken. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. It's all cosmetic. You know, we can't even age, you know. You have to go and get 16 facelifts or something. It's not as bad as America yet, but it will become that way. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So we need to, like, if you like, develop our own health insurance, become resilient to stress. It's everywhere in our lives. Even parking the car. Do you understand? Even though those are designated spaces. You've seen these videos, you know. Somebody drove into a space and then this guy in a 20-ton truck came up and rammed them because that was their space. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like madness, you know. So we all need to think about this. And if we start working with our minds in the way that we have been and are doing, then we will build up this resilience. And we won't be afraid of what comes into our mind. Do you see what I'm saying? Well, of course it makes sense. There's a whole load of nonsense goes on inside here. Not only that, you make a whole load of stuff about what's going on out there. You just make it up as you go along. You know, depending on whether you like it or you don't. Then there's a whole story about it, you know. And then you come out with it. Well, and then it spreads, you know, it's a bit like a virus. So what I want you to do is I want you to think like this. This word rain, they use it in America. As soon as you recognize that there's like some emotion or something going on, you know, just allow it to be there and acknowledge it. Say anger. Don't say my anger, just say anger is present. And then see what this emotion feels like in your body. See what thoughts come in relation to it. So investigate it. And then watch, like you were saying. Observe. So they call it non-identify. Non-identify with it. Take a step back from it and just watch it. Okay? So that's your practice.